Hi guys, it's Lynn here. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Now in this video I'm going to be showing you what the annoying scale insect looks like and also what you can do to treat it. Now every sort of few days I go and check all of my house plants. I've got some here that are in my kitchen that are under the grow light, doing very well for the winter, mainly a mixture of Tradescantias and some ferns and also Schefflera, commonly known as the umbrella plant. Anyway, I was checking over this morning and I noticed that the leaves felt a little bit sticky. And when I look closer, look at this guys, you can see there and there signs of scale insect. And this is quite very common on houseplants and it's very easy to treat. I don't see this very often so much now. I'm going to mention why in this video, but when I do spot it, this is what I do to treat it. So if you want to know what is scale and what it looks like, perfect example here. I'm going to just show you underneath there all the little annoying tiny little brown, dark brown, little lumps and bumps. And they're raised little bumps, and if you look very carefully, difficult to get the macro on this camera, but if I was to go very close and magnify it, you'd see a tiny little dot in the middle, which is the actual insect that hides under these scales. And they hide, I mean, you do sometimes see them on the leaves at the front, but they usually hide underneath the leaves, so you can't see them, as you can see there. And you often only really notice there's something wrong when you notice the leaves feel a bit sticky. And insect pests, especially things like aphids and mealybugs, often leave this sticky residue. And I do treat my house plants regularly with neem oil. Usually about once a month during the spring and summer months, and it keeps all pests away. But because it's winter, I sort of don't really do it as regular as I should. And I tell you, as soon as I stop doing it, within about 3 months, I noticed pests coming back. So this is what I'm going to talk about in this video as well. So first of all, what does scale insect look like? This is a perfect example here of what it looks like. Little bumps. And you can tell the difference between little scarring and scale insects. Scale insects very tiny, just show you compared to my thumb there, and always sort of brown. And you can usually scratch them off. If it's usually just a little bump on your plant, they won't scratch off. These scratch off very easily, so I'll show you there. And obviously they are a bit of a pest, and often the stickiness as well. You note a lot of stickiness on your plants. I'll just show you this close up here of a leaf I've just removed, to get a better idea what it looks like. I just moved away so the macro is better. See all them little scales and the stickiness, very annoying. So that's basically what scale insect looks like. And now I'm going to show you how to treat it. And there's 3 things I use here. First of all, to remove the scale, I use rubbing alcohol, also called isopropyl alcohol, which is this one here. I use one that's 99.9%, but you can, as long as you want, you use one that's 70%. And that's how I remove the scale, first of all, to remove as many as I can physically see. Then once I've done that, then I go on to use the horticultural neem oil. Now, I've made a whole video on how to use neem oil to get rid of pests on your plants, and also how to prevent them from coming back. So rather than talk about it too much in this video, I'm going to link the video to how to use neem oil to get rid of pests on your houseplants. Link that video up above, and I'm also going to link it down below in the video description. So do check that video out, because I mentioned the whole how to mix it, how to make up the neem oil. I mix it with the horticultural liquid soap, because neem oil is an oil and it doesn't mix with water. You have to use soap to mix it for it to work. And I completely explain that in the video, and the measurements and everything like that. So that's what I'm going to be doing after I've removed with the rubbing alcohol. But just to mention that I've made a whole video on that, so do check that video out. That's something you need to do once you've removed as many of the pests as you can see. And then with the rubbing alcohol, all I do with this is just put a little bit into the bowl here. And then I use these little cotton wool pads. You can use a brush as well, but a cotton wool pad works really well. Thoroughly soak it and then wipe the leaves to remove as much as you can physically see, which I'm just going to show you now. I've also made many videos on how to use rubbing alcohol to get rid of pests as well. So there's numerous ones on my video playlist, so do check that out. But I'm just going to show you how I remove them on this video here on this plant. So here we go, that's a little bit of the rubbing alcohol in the bottom there. And then what you want to do is thoroughly soak this completely soak it. And then here we go. Let's get removing these little annoying horrors. And you also want to make sure that when you do spray with the neem after, you want to make sure that you do all plants that are close. I can't see any pests on any of these, but I'm going to treat the whole collection because scale does move about. There you go, so that's removed that. And the good thing is about the rubbing alcohol, it removes them really easily. It doesn't hurt the plants as well. So just be careful if you're using rubbing alcohol on plants such as echeverias and some other succulents. It can take the lovely sort of hue off the leaves, so just bear that in mind. It's more of an aesthetic thing, it won't harm, but if you've got lovely colourful plants that have got lovely sort of colourful hue, as they call it, on the top, just be careful with that. And you can just go straight, if you haven't got any rubbing alcohol, you go straight ahead and use the neem oil. The neem oil will get rid of them, but it does take longer. I mentioned in the whole video on how to use neem oil on houseplants. It's something you have to repeat for every few days until you get rid of them, and then it's like a maintenance treatment of once a month after that. So that's all you want to do. And of course you want to make sure you do the undersides as well, because that's where most of these pests hide here. And you can see how easy it comes off. So I'm going to be doing this whole plant now, and rather than bore you with the whole thing, I'm just going to show you a bit of an example of how to remove it. So there you go, you see all the scales coming away there, pretty disgusting. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this with my nail varnish off, because the rubbing alcohol also removes your nail varnish as well. Oh dear. There you go. So you need to make sure that that's all. Got rid of them all there. Still a few more. And it's great because the rubbing alcohol melts them. It melts the outer shell on scale insects. And that's good, because if you just go ahead and use an insecticide, it's hard to get rid of scale that way, because the insecticide doesn't penetrate into the hard shell. So it's good to remove it with the rubbing alcohol first. This is going to take me a bit of a while to do this whole entire plant, so I'll do that, and then I'm going to treat it all with the neem oil. Now that's all the Schefflera all removed of as many as I can physically see. Obviously with pests, they're going to be hiding in places you can't see, especially scale insects. So what I like to remove as much as I can first with the rubbing alcohol is it does help to make the neem oil even more effective. Now I'm going to spray the whole plant with the neem oil and repeat it again in 5 days, and then again in another 5 days, and then another 5 days, and then once there's no signs at all of any pest, I'm going to use it then once every 2 to 3 weeks for the next month or two, and then once a month as a maintenance treatment. But I'll explain more in the how to use the neem oil video, so do check that out, guys. And thank you so much for watching. And for lots more tips and tricks on how to care for houseplants and cacti and succulents, please do subscribe to my channel, and also check out my website, desertplantsofAvalon.com. I want to send you loads of love, heaps of happiness, and tons of plant power from across the Emerald Isle. And until my next video, bye!